Hey guys, welcome to another session on vocabulary. We have done antonyms, synonyms, idioms, phrases, migratory words, and all that we have done. And the next in line we have is this common confusables. We'll do closer test, we'll do fill in the blanks. So it will be in individual videos because one video would be too lengthy and no, it will take a lot of time for you to sit down and watch that. So I'll put them in small videos so that you can go through it from time to time. So the first one that is the common confusables. Now, what are these common confusables? There are many words that we know. We know those they might be homonyms, same sounding, or homophones, same sounding homonyms. They might be the same spellings and all they have. But again, when it comes to the exact the usage of the word, I'm a little confused. I know the word. I know the word is a simple word, but I don't know because as you understand, a word can be used in different contexts. Right. So now the a spelling here and there, the pronunciation the same. Again, its usage is what I have to again find out. I have to understand the usage, which word will be appropriately used where. Okay. These words, when it comes to usage, then you have to understand what is the right one. I'll give you an example. Say, for example, we have got affluent. Affluent. One is AFFLUNT, one is EFFLUNT. Only difference is the first alphabet is A and E. Affluent means rich and wealthy. Effluent means sewage. कचरा होता है ना ड्रेन में जो जाता है उसको सीवेज बोलते हैं effluent. And the affluent means paisa wale, rich. Now imagine no that someone pronounces this as affluent, and he confuses with the spelling. Both sounds like the affluent, but what is effluent? If you pronounce it correctly, effluent, and other is affluent. So if there's a confusion, so there are many such words which we will now right now discuss, and you'll see that there are many words which have almost the same kind of their homophones, and but their meanings are different and the usage will be different. Let's go ahead and do those words. Again, as I have often mentioned, once you see the screen, pause the screen, then try answering this. Once you have answered, then play the video once again and check if what you answered was correct or not. Clear? Okay, so common confusables. Let me get my pen so that we can. Okay, the first one is she had the timidity or temerity to be relatively famous and attractive. So, what is timidity? Timid means one who is a little shy, little introvert. You can say coward, not exactly coward, but shy, little introvert. So, that is timid. Temerity, one who is audacious, one who is boldly courageous, foolishly bold. I'm sorry, foolishly bold. That is temerity. So she had the timidity or temerity to be relatively famous and attractive. Now, my friends, when we talk about famous and attractive, now someone who is shy and introvert cannot become famous and attractive. So here it has to be temerity or audacity. The court has issued a definite or definitive ruling. Definite is a simple word which you know, a specific one. And definitive is which is final, which is final or binding. So if it is the court, then it will issue a binding or a final ruling. So we go with the definitive. Despite the changes, he did not waver or waver. See, look at this. Waver, the spelling. The only difference is in this one, okay, there's a little error here. So this is B. So in this, the first one that is WAVER, and the second one, option B, that is WAIVER. This I is only the extra one which is there. Now the first one, waver. We wave, no? means this side, this side, this. So it means someone who is not decisive, one who cannot take a decision. Is way sometimes this and sometimes this. So waver. So waving. And the second one is waiver. This one is to give up something which is rightfully yours, or something which you leave, let go, leave it. So the example can be the government has waived off the loans of the farmers. I suppose that's the most commonly read word in the newspaper. The loans of the farmers have been waived off by the government. So when it says that has been waived off by the government, so here it is this waiver. So, but here it says, despite the changes, he did not waver from his plan to retire. Means he has planned to retire, but he is not saying sometimes yes I'll, sometimes I know I'll not. He is not wavering. Means he is not being indecisive. He is determined. He has taken a decision. So it will be a waiver. There are no medical records anywhere in the world where people live with venomous and poisonous substances. Guys, venom and poison are the same. What is the difference? Venom is what is injected into the bloodstream, which is injected into the body by some insects, reptiles. When it is injected directly into the bloodstream, it is venom. And anything which is ingested, oral route, it is ingested, it is poisonous. Right. So here it says there are no medical records anywhere in the world where people live with poisonous substances in their body, because venom would be in the bloodstream. But here it says in the body. So it has to be a poisonous. Clear? So we have the option as um, B, option B, B, A, and B. So option 3 is our answer. Am I clear? Next, question number 2. The bug of enthusiasm and the young or youthful spirit. Here we are young people, and we are talking about the spirit. Here we are describing the spirit. So it has to be the youthful spirit, not the young spirit. Spirit is not young, spirit is youthful. Educated at one of Shanghai's top universities, he is urban. He is urban. Now, look at these two words. Urban has got an E extra, rest is the same. Now, what is urban? Urban is one who is polished, little sophisticated in his ways, manners. He's urban. Urban means living in towns and cities is urban. Urban areas, we say, rural areas, urban areas. So urban is town. So urban is one who is little polished or little sophisticated in his manner. So he is urban. Because it says educated at one of Shanghai's top universities. He's urban, articulate in English, and works in a foreign law firm. So because there are these positive words, so he's urban. So he's describing, it's an adjective. So he's urban. In the book, he appraises. Now, appraisal. Guys, you understand appraisal? Anyone who works every year, he has got an annual appraisal. On the basis of the appraisal that is done, his promotions, his increment, all this depends on his appraisal. Means measure. यानी कितना टारगेट दिया गया था, या तो क्या दिया गया था, कितना अचीव कर पाए हो. So that is measured, and that is known as appraisal. So the book appraises. दूसरा है this appraises. Appraises means to inform. I apprised my boss of the matter. Means I informed my boss about the matter. So that is inform. So here in the book, he appraises Hollywood's recent films and contrasts them with several independent films. So he's measuring the recent Hollywood movies with the other movies that has been made. So he's measuring which was better, the screenplay was better, whose cinematography was better, whose casting was better, whose story was better. All those things he is measuring. So that's why it is appraises. I'm sorry. He appraises, right? He appraises Hollywood's recent films and controversial. Wine marinades and marinates. Look at these two words. Marinades, S, marinates. There is a T here, there is a D here. That's the only difference. Now, marinade is a noun. Yani, the substance. It's a noun. Marinate is the verb. You need to do something. So with a marinade, you marinate, right? With marinade, you marinate. So here we are talking about the marinade which is made from wine. So we say wine marinates help meat, fish, and game keep a short time in hot weather. So here we are talking about a marinade which is made from wine. So it is option A. So we have our option as uh, B, then A, and again A. So that is option 2. Right? This is how we do it. Be careful. You can write the meaning. You can you can stop, pause, rewind, listen, and write, because this is very important. No? You must be realizing that there's many of these words, as I mentioned, these are all common words. But which one is the spelling? Which one is the right usage? I'm confused. And when you're writing, and particularly entrances, exams, and all, this is of utmost importance. And they give you in the form of the fill in the blanks and all those kind of things. Okay. Now, 3. Jobs was fired by his own company 10 years after launching Apple in his adoptive parents' garage. Now, he was adopted. He did not adopt his parents. So it is adoptive. So it was in adoptive parents' garage. It was slightly more risky than the other outfits. Now here it's the first one, that is risky, is something which is little vulgar, which is something which is not very civic, or which is little obscene, you can say. It's little obscene, or it is little indecent rather. And risky, you understand, this is a simple word which has some risk involved in it. So here it is talking about it was slightly more risky than the other outfits. Means it was little more indecent compared that this particular clothing was a little more indecent than the other outfit. He suffered many complications and his diagnosis is a common word which to look at the symptoms and diagnose a disease. Prognosis is to discuss the further course of the disease, or how the disease is going to further develop. That is prognosis. Prognosticate or prognosis. So he suffered many medical complications, and his prognosis means how the disease is going to further develop, what will be the due course of the disease, how it will progress, so that it can be contained or controlled. So it is prognosis was poor. Diagnosis is when we look at the symptoms and we find out the ailment, that we call as a diagnosis. So here it is, his prognosis was poor, means his prediction of how the disease is going to further progress was poor, or the disease is going to further develop. This includes dieting regimes, psychotherapy or prescription medications. Now, here it is, includes dieting, exercise regimens. Regimens means a schedule, or a particular way, or a sort of, you can say, a timetable or a routine. So that is regimens. And regime means during the rule of the regime. His regime was his dictatorial regime, or his regime was an tyrannical one. During his tyrannical regime. So that is all. So here we are talking about dieting, exercise, and all. So we are talking about a schedule, or we are talking about a plan. It has to be. So it has to be option A, regimens. So here we have this. So it is option 1. Then there was a piteous sound in Clarissa's voice, like a child imploring not to be left in the dark. Now, what is the difference between pitiable and piteous? Pitiable is which is pathetic or pitiful, right? Which is pathetic or pitiful. And piteous is which incites pity, which incites pity. So here we are saying there was a piteous sound. So it is a sound that causes a pity. a sound that brings in a pity. So it incites pity in somebody. So the sound was piteous, inciting pity. The town has passed a zoning ordinance. Now, ordinance, ordinance is, we call it as a um, temporary, ordnance factory where arms, ammunitions, and all this are made. That is known as ordnance. Ordnance factories, you might have heard. And ordinance is a temporary law that is by an authority or a government, a temporary rule or a law, that is ordinance. So here it says the town has passed a zoning ordinance limiting construction. So the authorities have put a temporary rule or law. So that's why it is ordinance. It's intense and turbid. It is describing. It's intense and turbid and turbulent. What is turbid and turbulent? Turbidity is the word that you have heard. कहाँ पे? Water filter. Water filter का advertisement में बोलते रहता है ना. It removes 99% turbidity. Means the muddiness, the clay content in the water. पानी तो धरती के नीचे से आता है ना, so a little bit of mud or clay content. So that is turbid, muddy. Turbulent. When you go in the, you're flying, aeroplane, you face turbulence, disturbance. So that disturbance, turbulence or turbulent means very disturbing or nothing, not smooth, not calm or not smooth. We call it as turbulent, very little violent kind of. So that is turbulent. So here it's intense because we are describing, we are not talking about mud. It's intense and turbulent, chaotic and calming, rhythmic all at the same time. So we are talking about something which is not calm. It is chaotic. It is intense and turbulent. So that's why the word turbulent, nothing to do with mud and clay and all that. Account should be taken at the same time of enemy methods of feints and fiends. Feints means to consciousness, to lose consciousness is faint. And feint is a method of deceiving or deception. As a method of deceiving or deception is feint. So of enemy methods of feints or fiends and other stratagems. So here our option is feints, right? Because we are talking about enemy methods of. So here our option is B. People are anxious or eager about the future. So now when people are eager means something which you are very excitedly waiting for. You know what something good or happy is going to happen. So you are eager. Anxious is when you don't know what is going to happen. You're little there's an anxiety. So there's an uncertainty kind of thing, and you're trying to find out what next. So we call it anxious. So people are anxious about the future, right? Then the day's ride had exhausted her already dwindled energy, and the night had truly enervated or energized her. Now look at this, guys. The day's ride had exhausted her. So here this word is had exhausted her. Exhausted her. Look at this. And already dwindled energy. The energy which was already down, dwindling, which was dissipating, and the night had truly enervated or energized. The night had truly enervated or energized. And there's a conjunction. Now here, now you might, because this is what I've heard, that the night will always put back energy or give energy. So here the conjunction is and the night had truly enervated or energized. Because the conjunction is and, so it will go with the word, with the same word, like exhausted. So it will go with the same kind of a word because the conjunction here is and. And as because the word here is exhausted, so here the word that we will go for is enervated. Energize means to bring in energy. And energize is to put in more energy, to feel energetic. But enervated means the becoming weak or feeling completely debilitated or weakened. So here, because it is and conjunction, so first, as the word is exhausted, So I have to find a word which will match it, complement it, so it is to be enervated. We were shocked at the enormity or enormousness of the crime. Now, difference between enormity and enormousness. Mm, uh, Enormity is something which is too ghastly, which is too ghastly, or which is extreme, the quality of extreme wickedness, right? It is extreme wickedness. That is enormity. And enormousness is to do with the size, you can say. It is to do with the greatness or immenseness. You can say the immenseness or the grandness, that is enormousness. And enormity, we use it as in a negative context, and that is, so that's why we were shocked at the enormity, because it talks about the crime. So the crime is obviously ghastly, I mean something very bad, so we go with the word enormity of the crime. In support of a 12-month school year, the committee deduced or adduced data from other districts. Deduce means to derive, adduce means to attach some data or information by which we can, to support our information, to support something, that to attach some information to it, to support your claim is adduced. Deduce is to derive. So that's why it is adduced data from the other school districts. So it is in this one, we have this adduced, because it says in support of a 12-month school year, the committee deduced or adduced data. Means what the committee did, it gathered information or supportive evidence for the 12-month school calendar. So here the option that we go for is adduced. Okay. So here our option is option A, right? Then question number 6, they had biannual conferences. Now, what is biennial and a biannual? Biennial is once in 2 years. Once in 2 years is biennial. Twice in a year is biannual. Bi is two, annual is year. So biannual is twice in a year. And this is what it says here. They held biannual conferences twice a year. Because it's twice a year, it is biannual. Biennial means once in 2 years. His guess was based on intuition rather than deduction or induction. Induction word has got many, I mean, like you have many usage of induction. One is like when someone is initiated into an organization, we call it as induction process. Then induction is also when no, you make somebody to do something, you commit, like no, you force him, or we call it, you induce him. So that word induce, to make, to commit, to do something. So that is induction. So here it says his guess, because the word here that has been used is guess. Here the word that has been used is guess. So it was based on intuitions. It was based on intuition rather than on deduction. There was nothing to deduce. He did not deduce. It was just a guesswork. It was just an intuition that he had. And on the basis of that, he just did a deduction. It is just an intuition and not induction. Even the most trenchant and mordant sword could not sever the bonds of loyalty between them. Now, mordant, the first one, trenchant, which is effective. Yeah, the first word here is more trenchant. Trenchant means which is effective or which is hard hitting. So that is trenchant. And mordant. Mordant is which is harsh or which is corrosive. That is mordant. So even the most trenchant sword means most effective. The most effective sword means it is the most trenchant sword, could not sever the sword could not sever the bonds of loyalty. Means the most effective or hard-hitting sword also could not break the bonds of loyalty or friendship between them. Approved metal safety cans should be used for handling of non-flammable or flammable liquids. Now it says non-flammable or flammable liquids. Non-flammable, if it is non-flammable, जो आग पकड़ेगा नहीं तो फिर उसको safety can में डालेंगे क्यों? So it has to be obviously a flammable liquids. Right? So here our answer is B, B and AB. So it is the third option. Right? Then the next one. Just a second. Yes, the advertising campaign has improved or improvised. चला, बीच में आ रहा है. The advertising campaign has improved. Campaign has improved or improvised sales. Now, improved, of course, improved, and it is improvised. So it cannot be improvised. It has improved sales. And improvised means to make the best utilization of the limited resources. To make the best use of the limited resources, we call it as improvised. So the sales has been improved. The advertisement campaign has improved sales and not improvised. It was amoral, immoral of her to tell lies like that. Amoral is, I'm sorry. Amoral is passionate love. Immoral, which is bad, which is evil, which is should not be true. Morality, which is strong. So here it says that it was immoral of her to tell lies. So झूठ बोलना बुरी बात है. So that is why it is immoral. The scandal caused a division among or between the fans. I'm sure you know where we use among and where we use between. Among is used when we are talking about more than two, and between we use when we talk about two people. So here it says about the fans, and obviously if fans is plural, it means it is more than two. We take it as that, and so it is among. A grand jury is expected to indict or indict him for murder. Indict is in a written form. Indict is to write down, likhna. And indict is charge somebody for a crime, to charge somebody for a crime. So a grand jury is expected to indict him for murder. So 7, we have this option as option 1. Most people with this invidious or insidious disease have no idea that they are infected. Now, invidious is unfavorable. Invidious is unfavorable, and insidious is one who harms in a secretive manner, which is harmful, which is very harmful, but in a secretive manner. Invidious, which is unfavorable or which is discriminated, that is invidious. And insidious is which is harmful, which causes harm. So most people with this insidious disease, this disease which harms but in a secret manner, like as we say, cancer is one, then diabetes is one, then blood pressure is one. It slowly inside, slowly it keeps on harming or damaging. So that is an insidious disease. Disease have no idea that they are infected. I think there is something singularly or singly distinctive about. Now, the difference between singly is एक karke, one by one, that is singly. And singularly is particularly. So there is something, uh, singularly, I think there is something singular, particularly distinctive about this iris psyche. Because singly is ek karke, one by one. She is wrong to inflict or afflict her beliefs on everyone else. Afflict means to cause great unhappiness, to create great unhappiness or distress, that is afflict. And inflict is to cause a harm on someone, or to force on someone. So she's wrong to inflict her beliefs. She's wrong to inflict her beliefs on everyone else, because afflict, as I mentioned, it is to cause great unhappiness or great sorrow. So here it is belief cannot do that. So it is inflict. He was an intent or intense young man who was very determined. So here we are describing the man. So it has to be an adjective that we have got to use. So here it is a young man we are describing. So he was an intense young man who was very determined to do well in school. Right? So we have this option as the fourth one. Question number 9, each suit has a sitting area and luxuriant or luxurious Italian marble bathroom. Luxuriant means which is fanciful, which is elaborate. बहुत elaborate है, बहुत fanciful चीज है, that is luxuriant. And luxurious means which is very rich. देख के लगता है बहुत कॉस्टली है, देख के लगता है बहुत पैसा लगा होगा उसमें, opulence, lot of opulence, wealthy, rich. So each suit has a luxurious यानी कॉस्टली दिखने वाला Italian marble bathroom. He has, I'm sorry, he has a moribund or morbid sense of humor. Moribund is which is stagnant, lifeless, undynamic, जान नहीं है जैसे उसमें, that is moribund. And morbid is unhealthy. You can say an unhealthy mental state, that is morbid. This is an unhealthy mental state, morbid. And moribund, which is undynamic, is not dynamic, it is lifeless. It is lifeless, so that is moribund. So he has a morbid sense of humor, means a sense of humor which is not appreciable, or which is not which may tend to be vulgar. So it is morbid sense of humor. He perpetuates or perpetrates. Now perpetuate means to cause something to go on. परपेचुअल है ना, परपेचुअल जो चलता रहता है, चलते रहता है, चलते रहता है, खत्म नहीं होता है, परपेचुअल, गोज ऑन एंड ऑन. सो ही परपेचुएट्स, perpetrate is to act or do something, generally a crime, something which should not be done, which is not right, to doing some such kind of an act is perpetrate. So बोलते हैं ना हम लोग, the perpetrators were shot dead, or there was a perpetration from across the border. So ऐसे पेपर में हम लोग पढ़ते हैं ना, न्यूज में सुनते हैं. So that is means to do something which is wrong, or which is crime. So that is perpetrates. So he dashed the myth that his house is haunted. So he perpetrates, वो उसका घर जो है वो haunted है. He keeps on spreading this message and keeps on making it make it stay alive. That myth that घर पे भूत है. So he keeps on perpetrating, keeps on spreading it, perpetuates. They did get healthy, nutritional or nutritious food, even if it was all low fat and low calorie. Now it was all nutritional. They did get healthy, nutritional food, even if it was all low fat. So we are talking about the food, and it is healthy. So it is nutritional food, even if it was all low fat and low calorie. Then 10. Such experiments require at least two prerequisites, perquisites. Prerequisites and perquisites. What's the difference? Prerequisites is precondition. See, look at this. Requisites means required. So prerequisites means two conditions which is required beforehand. दो conditions जो पहले चाहिए. Then perquisites means payment that is done for the amount that you spend for your organization. Suppose you are working, you spend some amount or money for your company's sake, for a company business, that is refunded. That is given back to you, refunded back to you. That is known as perquisites. Hmm. So such experience require at least two prerequisites. His landscapes offer a tilting prospective or perspective, often a view over rises or down or slope. Now, prospective and perspective. Uh, Perspective is prospect means something which has got a possibility, or there's a sign of something good, that is prospective. And perspective is view or opinion. So here his landscapes offer a tilting view or nazariya, as we say, perspective, often a view over rises or down a slope, right? So here it is perspective. He seems to take perverted or perverse pleasure. Now, perverted is something which is unnatural, which is unhealthy, which is perverted, which is unnatural, perverted, and perverse is which is something which is very indecent or vulgar, which is kinky, you can say. So it is perverse. And with this word pleasure, it will go, he takes a perverse pleasure. He takes a perverse pleasure. With this word, it goes with the word, it takes perverse pleasure in making things as difficult as possible. An airy and pretentious or potential stillness hung over the camp the night before the battle. Now, pretentious is to pretend to, right? That you know, pretend to, pretentious. Potentious means something which has the potential of happening, something fateful, something foreboding. Now, here it says an airy. Look at this, airy means there's a ajeeb sa sannata, airy. And potentious, stillness hung over the camp the night before the battle. Now, look at this, night before the battle. So the battle is something which says, obviously, if there's a battle, definitely there will be a lot of killing and all that. So there is something which is very foreboding. कुछ तो नो घटित होने वाला है, कुछ बुरा होने वाला है. So that is foreboding. So an eerie and portentous silence, stillness hung over the camp night before the battle. So it will be option B. Clear? So it is, our option here is option A, then we have B, B and A. So it is the option first one that we have. So we have option 1 as our answer. Right? Now we did some around 80 words because there are 10 and each has got some 8 words. So we have done some 80 words we have discussed. And I hope you have marked the words. And as I have often mentioned, whenever you want to do these kind of exercises, pause the videos, go through it. You can write down also the meaning of each of the words. There's 80 words which I told you. Obviously, this is how you do the vocabulary exercises or practice. You can pause it, you can read it, you can again practice it. Right? So next we'll do few more questions on a different pattern. We'll do.